Right, today we're going to try a little bit of an experiment, actually, as an experiment in psychic readings. So the readings that will come up later could be for you. Now let me explain how this all works. When in spiritualism, one of the techniques we use is called Advance Clairvoyance. Now, not advanced, but advance, i.e. in advance. So sometimes when one stands up on the spiritualist platform, particularly when people are fledgling mediums, we use a technique in which they write down a message for someone in the audience in advance of doing the demonstration of mediumship. So you write down the person's name, maybe, and some details about the person and what you feel about that person and a message that might come from the spirit world. So the spirit are giving that medium information before he's even stepped into the spiritualist church. And then, before you begin the normal demonstration, you will stand up and read out the card and what it says and who it's for. So this is called Advance Clairvoyance, and I've often, in my own circles, I've used it as a technique when I'm helping my students. So they have to write something in advance before they come to the circle and would read out their message and find out who it's for. But of course, the best way to do it is if you have absolutely no idea who you're going to see. You don't know who's in the spiritualist church, for example. So these messages are very evidential. They're great proof sometimes of proof of life after death. And, you know, it can also be, it could just be a psychic type message as well. So I'm going to try it with you lot, right? I'm going to give you some messages in a moment. I'm going to go and meditate in my little room back there, tune in and get some messages and see what I get. And then I'm going to say them to you. So coming up in a few moments will be my messages. And it could be for any of you watching this now. And I'd like you please to comment though. You know, let's make a deal. If I'm going to do this, please comment. I mean, comment if it's for you. So that we can eliminate those ones that are left, as it were. So, you know, and don't make it fit. I want it to be, the things I show you should be pretty much bang on specific for a person. So it'll be very interesting. So please read the comments and see what other people say after you've watched the video. And sometimes people might have picked it up erroneously, so, you know, it still might be for you. But it's a very interesting technique of remote clairvoyance, really. It's a form of clairvoyance that you might be completely unfamiliar with. So, yeah, okay. So I'm going to go and meditate now, and I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, so I've been doing my meditations and picked a few things up. I've written a few down on cards, but I might just do some spontaneously too, because the first feeling I get is for somebody. The name Jenny, I feel, is important to this. Probably the recipient of this message or would know a Jenny very closely. And there's a connection here with the person named Stephen. So there's a Jenny plus a Stephen. They feel like they're quite emotionally connected. And I'm feeling younger people here, young souls. And there's a problem around them. I'm feeling that someone here has lost a job. And there was also recently a car accident associated with this person. Not a serious car accident, not a death or anything. I felt as if there was a car accident associated with this. And I'm in particular, for some reason, and I don't know what this means, and this would have to be part of the message. If you're going to take this message, this would have to be part of it. I see something to do with red shoes. All right, there was something to do with red shoes. I have no idea what that means. Okay, and that's connected with this somehow. And there's also in the connection around this whole thing too, this is kind of like a psychic message I feel here. I feel there's some other connection with the police. They may have worked for the police or something like that. There's been some connection between either Jenny or Stephen with the police force and may have done something or been in the police at some stage in their life or had some close connection with the police force. And I want to say my message to these two is that there's been this job loss, and I feel that things are going to improve, and there will be a new job opportunity. Okay. So now for my next one, I feel I want the lady in spirit now. I've got a lady, I'm getting the M initial, so I feel I've either got a Mary or a May, I think. I don't think it's Margaret, I think it's Mary or May that I'm getting for this. The two names might actually be in her name, might be Mary May or May Mary as one as a middle name. And I feel this is a lady that is a comfortable build. She had chest conditions towards the end. She was quite hard of hearing. She used to suffer from migraines very badly, I feel. And she lost her husband early in her life, because she's on the spirit side, her husband's now there with her, but I felt she lost her husband early in life. And I feel this would probably be a more like a grandmother connection to somebody here, and it would be on your mother's side of the family. And this lady, I mean, a lot of that age group had false teeth, but I'm seeing false teeth as if she used to do something silly with her false teeth, muck around with them. I don't know if she did something like mucked around, took them out and used to cut the pastry or something like that. That sounds daft, but something like that. I get something funny and silly with a story in the family connected with her false teeth, I've got to say. And there's this Mary, I think she's giving. I think I'm feeling more stronger with the name Mary with her, and I feel that she suffered, like I say, with a chest condition. She went over reasonably quickly because of this. It was not years and years of suffering. It seemed to be a diagnosis that came quite quickly. So I think it's actually in the lung itself rather than in the actual heart here. And she wants to connect with someone called Alan, on A initial, but I think I'm wanting to talk to an Alan, and that Alan would have recently moved. Now they might have even moved, they could have moved house, but I feel they could have moved even overseas somehow. And the message, perhaps going through whoever understands this, goes out to an Alan. And I feel that Alan has had some worries about his health, that I feel I just sense a feeling that person's going to improve and get better, and it's not to worry to obviously get medical help where required. You know, don't take a psychic's word, but I just feel healing coming from the spirit side and an improvement there in Alan's condition. And there's also I think I'm with an UK link with it too. I don't think I'm in America or anything here. Because the Mary would have lived in the UK certainly. Alan has gone overseas, and I don't know if there were some travel things that they did or something connected here with Canada. Okay, so I'm going to go on to my next link now. I'll give you a few more. And actually, I want to go to Canada now. I've got a connection with somebody that may be living in Canada or have connections with Canada. But I also get this feeling of Sicily. So they've had Sicilian connections in their life. It may have been a holiday or a vacation, as you'd say there, to Sicily, because I'm feeling an interest here in old Roman buildings and old Greek buildings that would be there in Sicily, and a feeling like this coming through. Now, what am I getting? Who am I getting this for? I want to go to the surname Clark, and I feel there's a Clark name that seems to connect with this. It may be like a Joe Clark. I feel Joe seems to be significant, but certainly a family group called Clark. There's connections in Canada. They may have travelled to Sicily. And just to get it even more confused for you, I want to say that if we go back in the family, there's Welsh connections, and I want to go back in the family because I'm seeing Welsh fields, fields in Wales and things like that. So that would go back in the family tree, I feel. And who's my communicator here then? What am I getting this from? Because I'm not sure if it's the Joe Clark that's communicating here or it's for the Joe Clark. Because I'm getting here, this is something, whoever has picked up this message, there's a fatherly vibration I can feel in spirit that wants to tell me about this. And I want to say, your father had travelled the world quite a lot. This is separate to I think the recipient had been to Sicily of the message, but I get the feeling the spirit communicator for this is a gentleman. I feel it's a father connection with you, who had travelled a lot, had naval influences, and I'm looking back here actually, because I'm feeling back. I want to look back to the convoys from the Second World War, and there was something about the convoys of the Second World War that went with that person. So for the recipient of this message, I feel I'm wanting to give here an evidential message that I feel you will pick up and be able to understand all those facts that I've said now. Now, the next connection, I want to feel a connection from the spirit side this time. I feel like the communicator's name would be Charles. There's a Charles communicating with me, or maybe known as Charlie, but I feel that he would prefer to be known as Charles. And it's a bit like the Rolling Stones name, Charlie Watts. I've got Watts' name with this, so it's Charles Watts. So it's very similar. It's not the Rolling Stones, but it's like that name, Charlie Watts, Charles Watts, okay? And this person suffered through their life from a condition with their feet. They had very bad feet problems and may have had a toe amputated, because I'm feeling this sense as if a toe had been removed. So they may have had a condition like diabetes or something that created problems with the body, and they had a toes amputated, I'm feeling here. And this person comes with a sense of humour, because I feel this person would have, I'm back a bit in the generations here. They would have known of the Rolling Stones, for example, but I feel I'm going back. So I might be with a fatherly side of the family, or even going back to a grandfather side with this, but this is where I feel the connection with this. But he had a very good sense of humour. He was a heavy smoker, I've got to say. And he's talking about the town of Shaftesbury. And I don't know, I always associate Shaftesbury with the UK, but I don't know if there's a Shaftesbury in Australia, because I'm getting something with a possible Australian connection here too. So I don't know if this is a UK person in Australia or vice versa, but I'm getting something with that too. So I'm hearing that Shaftesbury name. And so that's a place name I feel I'm talking about here. And so I want to pass his love on to somebody that understands this, because I feel in the family where he's connecting to here, there was a recent passing in the family of someone else who I feel I want to remember here. I haven't got their connection, but I just feel he wants to talk about that. And I'm seeing there in the home at the moment, lots of decoration going on, all sorts of new things being done there. Now my final link is, I'm hearing I'm getting a gentleman in the spirit, had a very good sense of humour, another one with a sense of humour. He went quite deaf towards the end though, so he used to shout at people when he spoke, and he refused to wear a deaf aid, I've got to say. He had big ears too, but he couldn't hear with them, and he's got a good sense of humour here as well. I'm hearing the name Graham. I feel I want to give the name Graham connected with this, again with a spirit link from the person. So I feel I've got a Graham in the spirit. He's got the problems with the hearing, and he's talking to me as he connects with me. For some reason he's showing me lots of sweets and things like this, sweet things, and I don't know if there was a store or a sweet shop of some sort, because I feel I'm selling something that's very sweet. It might be ice buns perhaps, it might be sugar candies, it's something like that. I feel there's some connection in the family with a shop or a newsagent or something that had a large range of confectionery for sale. And Graham had he had eye conditions through his life too. He had lovely eyes. I feel he had quite a very deep greeny colour eye, but he had a problem with one of his eyes, and I think he nearly lost his sight, or near loss of sight in one of his eyes through something like cataracts. And Graham is a person that he had an annoying habit of whistling all the time. That's the feeling I get with him. I feel I want to whistle, and that's irritating, but he used to do it deliberately to wind people up the wrong way. And he's showing me here, I don't know if this is a newsagent, because I'm seeing comic books and things like that, and I feel he would have had an interest in comic books of some sort, you know. The adventure comic books is what I feel like. Might have even been things like Victor and things like that, and Eagle. I'm getting those sort of feelings here. And he may have even collected them, or knew someone, or there's some connection here with someone that was a collector of things, that and even stamps and things. They used to collect a lot. And he's passing, I'm not sure who he's trying to give the message to. I can't hear the name of who he's wanting to reach out to, but I feel I want to reach out to that family because he's still well remembered, even though it's some years since he passed. And he's talking about something about a classic car. I don't know if he loved classic cars, or somebody who's the recipient of this message enjoys classic cars, because I'm seeing things like E-type Jags and, you know, that type of thing. Really old, good old cars. The interest in that type of thing. I'm not saying you own them. And he's talking to me. He's given me a thought here that this person was also, that the recipient of this message would be quite interested in the stock market. And I'm seeing them investing shares, and I'm buying shares. And again, I keep coming to this back to Canada again for some reason, or something to do with the oil industry. I'm buying shares in a new pumping system within the oil industry, something to do with a new system of extracting oil. It's not fracking, it's a different thing I'm getting here, something like that. There's some connection like that in the family. Okay, so there's a few spontaneous bits of clairvoyance. It may be for you, and if one of those messages has been for you, play the tape back again so you can make sure you got all the facts, and please put a message in the comment if it is correct for you. And if this does work, because it's kind of an experiment, we'll try it again and in the future. And let me know if you like this, and if you think this is an interesting experiment to try online like this. You know, I might make a fool of myself, you never know. But this is kind of how it works when I do clairvoyance by email, for example, because I use I use a tool then. I use the I Ching Oracle for that. But this is trying to do mediumship this way, which is much harder without the recipient with me. So if you enjoy watching this, obviously follow this channel, please, and click the little bell thing, and you'll get updates, and you'll get the next one like this. And please go and visit my website if you're interested in having readings yourself. There's myself gives readings there, but I've also got a whole affiliates of clairvoyants that work through my website who are very good and can do readings you know, immediately if you want them, live psychics as it were. So yeah, thanks for joining me. See you again. Bye for now.